Fear is one of the most powerful forces that affects our lives. It's universal, we all experience it, whether it's the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, or the fear of the unknown. Fear often stands as a formidable barrier between us and our goals, dreams, and potential. But what if I told you that fear is not the enemy? That it's possible to conquer your fears and use them as a driving force to achieve greatness? At Motivations, we believe that fear is not something to be eradicated, but something to be understood, embraced, and ultimately conquered. Tony Robbins often says, the only thing that's keeping you from getting what you want is the story you keep telling yourself. That story is often rooted in fear of not being good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. But when you conquer your fears, you liberate yourself from those limiting beliefs and open the door to a life of freedom, growth, and success. In this motivational speech, we will explore the single most important step to conquer your fears. Yes, just one step, because conquering your fears doesn't need to be complicated. It's about shifting your mindset and taking deliberate action. If you commit to this one powerful step, you can transform the way you approach fear, break free from its constraints, and live the life you're destined to stand for. Embrace action in the face of fear. Action is the antidote to fear. If there's one thing that will help you conquer your fears, it's this: you must take action despite feeling afraid. You see, fear thrives in inaction. It grows when you hesitate, when you doubt, when you let it fester in your mind. But the moment you step into fear, when you take bold, courageous action despite your fear, you diminish its power. Let's break down this step in depth and explore how action transforms fear into a source of empowerment. 1. Fear in the mind. Why action is the key. Fear, at its core, is a mental construct. It's a reaction generated by your brain to protect you from potential harm or discomfort. Thousands of years ago, this mechanism kept our ancestors alive by helping them avoid real dangers like wild animals or natural disasters. But in the modern world, our fears are often triggered by non-life-threatening situations: public speaking, taking risks, asking for a promotion, or starting a business. These are not physical dangers, but our minds still react to them as though they are. The problem with fear is that it tricks us into believing that the worst-case scenario is not only likely but inevitable. When we're faced with a fearful situation, our brains go into overdrive, imagining all the possible negative outcomes. But here's the truth: most of what we fear never actually happens. It's a distortion of reality, a story our minds create to keep us in our comfort zones. But the power of fear lies in its ability to paralyze us if we allow it. When you stop and hesitate, when you second-guess yourself, fear takes control. You start to believe the false narratives that your mind is spinning. The only way to break this cycle is through action. When you take action in the face of fear, you disrupt the mental loop that keeps you stuck. You prove to yourself that the fear was unfounded, that you're stronger than you thought, and that you're capable of handling whatever comes your way. 2. The biology of fear, turning fear into fuel. When you're afraid, your body reacts in a very specific way. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and your mind starts racing with thoughts of impending doom. This is known as the fight or flight response, and it's your body's way of preparing you to deal with a threat. But here's the thing: your body doesn't know the difference between real danger, like a predator attacking you, and perceived danger, like speaking in front of an audience. In both cases, your body responds with the same physiological reactions. So how do you use this to your advantage? By turning fear into fuel. Instead of letting the physical sensations of fear overwhelm you, you can learn to harness that energy and channel it into action. When your heart is racing, that's not a sign that something bad is about to happen. It's a sign that you're about to do something important, something that matters. Think about professional athletes before a big game. They feel fear, too, the same racing heart, the same nervous energy, but they've trained themselves to interpret those sensations as excitement, as fuel for their performance. You can do the same. When you feel fear, remind yourself that it's not a signal to stop, it's a signal to act. The energy of fear can propel you forward if you let it. 3. Taking the first step. Small actions lead to big results. One of the reasons fear feels so overwhelming is that we often focus on the big picture. We think about all the things that could go wrong or how far we have to go to achieve our goals. But here's the truth: you don't have to conquer your biggest fears all at once. You just have to take one small step. Think about a fear you have right now. Maybe it's the fear of starting a new business, asking for a raise, or putting yourself out there in a personal relationship. Whatever it is, you don't have to tackle the entire challenge today. Just take one small action toward it. Make a phone call. Send an email. Write down your thoughts. Take a small step, and the next one will become easier. Action creates momentum. When you take that first step, you prove to yourself that you're capable of moving forward, despite your fear. That small victory builds confidence, and with each step, the fear becomes smaller and smaller. Before you know it, you're moving toward your goals with a sense of purpose and determination. Exercise. Identify one fear you have right now. Write it down. and then write down one small action you can take today to move toward it. Take that action, no matter how small it seems. You'll be amazed at how much power it gives you. 4. Repetition, the power of consistent action. Conquering your fears is not a one-time event, it's a process. Just because you take action once doesn't mean your fear will vanish forever. It's something you'll need to do consistently. The more you face your fears, the less power they have over you. Each time you take action, you reinforce the belief that you're capable, that you're strong enough to handle whatever comes your way. Consistency is key. The more often you confront your fears, the more desensitized you become to them. What once felt terrifying becomes manageable, and what once felt impossible becomes second nature. Think about learning to drive a car. The first time you got behind the wheel, you were probably nervous, maybe even scared. But with practice, driving became second nature. The same is true for fear. The more you take action in the face of fear, the more comfortable you become with discomfort. You start to see fear not as something to avoid, but as something to embrace. 5. The rewards of conquering fear. So why should you go through the discomfort of facing your fears? Because the rewards are immense. When you conquer your fears, you open yourself up to a world of possibilities. You unlock your potential. You gain confidence, resilience, and a sense of accomplishment. You become the kind of person who doesn't let fear dictate their choices. Think about the people you admire most, whether they're entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, or leaders. Do you think they never feel fear? Of course not. They feel fear, just like you do. The difference is that they don't let it stop them. They take action despite the fear, and that's what makes them successful. When you conquer your fears, you gain freedom. Freedom to pursue your dreams, to take risks, to step outside your comfort zone, and to live a life of purpose and fulfillment. Fear will always be there, but it doesn't have to control you. You can choose to act in the face of fear, and when you do, you reclaim your power. Conclusion: fear is the gateway to growth. Fear is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. It's a sign that you're pushing yourself, that you're stepping into new territory, and that you're about to grow. At AH Motivations, we believe that everything you want is on the other side of fear. The life you've always dreamed of, the success you've always desired, the person you want to become, all of it is waiting for you if you're willing to face your fears. So, take action today. Don't wait for the fear to go away, because it won't, but that's okay. Because you don't need to be fearless to succeed. You just need to be brave enough to take the first step. And when you do, you'll discover that fear is not as powerful as you once thought. You are stronger, more resilient, and more capable than you realize. Remember, action is the antidote to fear. So, embrace the fear, take action, and watch as your life transforms. Thank you.